Hello! I'm alive, sort of. First of all, welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. I was not on the air Friday as promised because Labor Day weekend, I was in New York for a long weekend for my nephew's awesome wedding. We had a blast. It was a really, really good time. But 7 of us came home with COVID, and I had it bad, bad, bad. It is not something to fool around with. I'd never caught it through all the pandemic, but I got it this time, and boy, it knocked me on my ass. I'm still fighting it, but I've got enough energy to do the show, and I had to after that game yesterday, so I am back. That's why I was not around on Friday. I just could not do it. My headache made it so bad I couldn't read, write, nothing. I couldn't. For all last week, for most of the weekdays, I just laid on a couch with my eyes closed and had TV on in the background because the headaches were so bad. So it's the real deal, people. Not that I didn't think it was, because I know it was, but anyways, I'm back, somewhat alive. So let's get to it, right? First of all, thank you and welcome back to season 4. Yes, 4 of Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And so let's get to it. I mean, that game yesterday was not anything we expected, right? I was reading a lot of stuff going into that game, and I was thinking people were getting way too ahead of themselves. This and that and this and that. So I said to myself, if this turns out to be bad, people are going to freak out. So I can only imagine what is going on in Chicago. I'm sure that the sports guys are just killing the Bears, and the fans are too. But not that they don't deserve it, because they do. They were not prepared. They were not prepared for that game. I love Coach Fluss. I've always been a big fan of his. But I got to say, not impressed with him yesterday. He did not have his team prepared for this game whatsoever, okay? Whatsoever. If I felt better, I would be getting madder, but I don't, so I can't. So, anyways, let's get to it. So the Bears lost. Well, first of all, let's just talk about it. The Bears-Packer rivalry they have played up to yesterday 206 games. It did not include yesterday's game, and including 2 postseason games. The Bears have won 95, and Green Bay has won 105, and then there were 6 ties. So now we know they've won 106. Right. So let's get to it. Okay. So I'm gonna go through a few stats, and then I'm gonna get to the meat of what I think happened. So my threes: time of possession, penalties, and turnovers. You win those battles, those 3 things, you have a chance to win the game, if not win it for sure. The Bears lost 2 out of 3 of those, and they really lost all 3. They won the time of possession by 1 minute, and I believe it's only because at the end of the game, Green Bay was letting them just go do whatever they wanted. Green Bay, the Bears ate up a lot of time in that last quarter. And they lost the penalties. They had 7 penalties for 61 yards. I thought it was worse than that because it sure seemed like it. And I got a rule, 5 or less penalties to win the game. And those penalties, we're going to talk about them because you know how much I hate penalties. And the Bears are not good enough to overcome penalties. No team wants penalties, but you're going to have them. Bears were 3rd in the league last year with the least amount of penalties. So they didn't start out this season very well, but I do believe that is going to be cleaned up. They lost the turnover battle. They didn't get any turnovers. They gave away 2 turnovers. The Bears defense had 1 sack. The Green Bay defense had 4 sacks. Yeah. And the Bears were dead last in sacks last year. They only had 20. So they have got to work on that too. Okay, so Fields was 24 of 37 for 216 yards, one interception, and one fumble. Both of those cost us 14 points. Yeah. The thing about I said on my first show a week ago, or I don't remember. My brain is still a little foggy, so forgive me. But I've said that this is a do or die year, in my opinion, for Fields, because he has got to show that he's vastly improved, because the Bears have 2 number 1 picks next year in the draft. So if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't prove to be the quarterback, they're going to move on, in my opinion, because this regime did not draft him, if you remember. So, and fumbling was one of his biggest problems last year. And again, right back at it again. You know what? I know we were losing and he's trying to make things, but you know what? He's got to rely on his other teammates to help him. And he's running around with that ball and then, boom, fumble, run it in for a touchdown. Stupid interception, run it in, touchdown. We just can't have it, okay? So, he had 216 yards. Doesn't really make no difference for that because we lost. We had a total yards rushing, though. We were 122 yards, and one of the reasons we had 122 yards is Fields had 59 of them. And again, we do not want him having to run like that. So Fields had 59 yards. Herbert had 27 yards rushing. Johnson, our rookie, who I really like, number 23 Johnson, he had 20 yards, and Foreman had 16. But the Bears defense did hold the Green Bay under 100 yards. They had 92 yards rushing, which was mostly in that third quarter where their running back just killed us. And so that's where most of their running is. But we did keep them under 100, so that's a good thing. Passing-wise, Mr. Mooney he was the top receiver with 53 and a touchdown, and then Fields used 7 different receivers after that. But we only had 216 yards, so it's nothing to But he did spread the ball around, but it wasn't enough. And he said, I heard him say that he definitely wasn't seeing the field the way he should have, because he wasn't getting. I was wondering, okay, are these guys not open? Are they not getting open? Again, you can't see a lot of the stuff on TV, right? But Fields said he missed open receivers. He didn't see them. So the game, again, for Fields yesterday was too fast. And I thought he was to the point where it had slowed down. In my opinion, he looked overwhelmed out there again. And this is year 3, and that should not be happening, okay? Now, first game, so we're going to give it to them, but still, he has got to settle down, and he's got to see the field. Now, of course, if your offensive line isn't giving you enough time, that's a problem too. It was up and down the offensive line. The first quarter, they looked great. And then when they had to start passing more, they didn't. But there was times he did have time, and he just didn't do what he should. He's not seeing these guys. So, and also the receivers, they've got to help him out too. When they see him struggling, they got to come back to him and help him out. But he, to me, looked like it was too fast for him yesterday, and he just didn't seem confident at all. And a lot of that is, of course, there's the player, but the coaches have a lot to do with that too. So we're going to get into that in the meat of it. I'm just going to give a few more stats on the defense. Number 53, one of our linebackers, Edwards, he led the team with 14 tackles. Tremaine Edmonds, our free agent signing in the offseason, had 8 tackles. Brisker, number 9, backfield, had 7 tackles, and our rookie, number 29, Stevenson, had 6 tackles. Those were the top tackles. So, okay, so let's get into what I think was going on, okay? And if I wasn't sick, I'd be really screaming right now, okay? First of all, the fucking penalties. Unbelievable. Now, there were so many times yesterday where the Bears get a first down, boom, out comes the flag. As a matter of fact, there was a couple times where they had back-to-back penalties on offense. Mostly the penalties were on offense, and it just kills drives when you get those penalties, and there was just too many of them. It was awful. It was pissing me off. And, you just can't do that. They're not good enough to overcome these penalties, and no team is going to be happy about penalties, but it just killed drive after drive after drive. And you know what? That's discipline, plain and simple. It's on the players and it's on the coaches that you got to get on them. Again, they were third best last year. So we need to turn that around. In my opinion, that can be turned around. But you know how I complain about penalties, and you see what I'm talking about. So many drives stopped. We were then, instead of 1st and 10 or 2nd and 5, we were 1st and 15. Then we were 1st and 20. And then you're a second down, you got it, and third, and then you're 3rd and long, punt. It was terrible. Awful, terrible discipline on that. And now the O-line and the D-lines. Those are two areas that the Bears needed to improve on so much. They're all new guys on the D-line. All but one did not return. We have all new guys but one. And on the O-line, there's only a few returning guys, and the rest of them are new. The problem is none of these guys played in preseason together. They hardly played at all. And it showed yesterday. And I think that's one of the real problems with the O-line and D-line in yesterday's game is this is the first time they were all on the field together in a game. Yet practice is one thing. It's not nearly as close as a game. And they were not in there on preseason. I don't care. You know what? Their injuries or this and that. It showed. It really showed. And you need to get these guys out there so they can start to gel as a team, particularly on your O-line and your D-lines. O-lines, those guys are close, and they have to work as a unit. And if they don't play in games together, they don't know that continuity yet. So they got to get it. And it just really showed, not playing in preseason, what both the D-lines and the O-line look like yesterday, and that has got to change. So you know what? I'm sure they're going to be working their asses off in practice, but again, that's not the same as a game. So we have got to, and the coach is responsible for that too. The D-line did look good at times. They seemed like they were going to get to the quarterback, and then he just got it out a couple times. We did get one sack. 91 did it. He's got that real long name. I can't pronounce it yet, especially now that my head is clogged. But 91 did have a sack. That was the only sack we had yesterday. And they did get close, but and I think with more and more reps and more game experience together, I feel like it's going to come together for the D-line, and I'm hoping the same with the O-line. These guys have got to get better. They've got to give Justin Fields more time, and they got to open it up for the running game. The running game started out looking like it was going to be really good. Herbert, bang, bang, boom, and then we're going to talk about the next thing that really pissed me off. Okay, so, we go down the field in that first quarter, and they're at midfield, something like that, and they can't get a first down on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. What the fuck is that? Come on, for Christ's sake. I watch a lot of football, and every other team I see can get a first down on 3rd and less than 1 and a 4th less than 1. Although I will tell you, I was not happy that Coach Fluss went for it on 4th and 1 in midfield that early in the game. I'm not a huge fan, like everybody else is, of these going on 4th down all the time now. It was too early in the game to go for it because you changed the momentum of the game, and they certainly did. They give it to Green Bay at midfield. What happens? They go down, scored a touchdown, 7-0. Had they punted that ball, they could have put them back within the less than 10-yard line, right? It could have been even the 1-yard line. And then the defense comes out feeling pretty good, stops them. They don't score. We come back with offense. Who knows what's going to happen? I thought that was... Coach Fluss actually gets an F for this game on my part, and that's the first time I'm going to say that. I didn't give him any Fs last year, even though we were bad. But he's year 2. He's on his second year too, so no more excuses. Terrible call. Do not go up forward midfield, first quarter, for 3-4 minutes into the game, just fucking punt the ball and let your defense do their job. Don't give any team that early in the game good field position. Just don't do it. You know what? I hate it, and it just ruins the rhythm of the game. And it just gave them the game was now in their favor, and it just never changed after that. I thought it was a terrible call. Jesus, coach. Okay, so the defense in the second half, they just couldn't stop anything. The run. They could not stop the run. And what was with those wide receivers? There was wide receivers open in that second half. That was fucking unbelievable. Where was the secondary? Last year, the only thing that shined on the Bears was that secondary. And yesterday, they looked like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. These guys are, Brisker, Gordon, they're all year 2. No excuses anymore. Number 29, our rookie, Stevenson, looked better than Gordon and Brisker. I mean, they had some plays. They did. But not in that second half. Those wide receivers. I mean, how about the time when Jordan Love was fumbling the ball back there, and he still gets it, picks it up, and he throws to his tight end. There wasn't anybody around. Where were the Bears' secondary? What, are they fucking playing poker out there? Shit. It was terrible. I just couldn't believe how wide open some of those guys were. There was no excuse. So, again, they weren't prepared. I mean, I think that was the worst I've seen that secondary play in over a year. I really do. That was terrible yesterday. Players and coaches alike. Terrible. You get Fs from me. Fs, Fs, Fs. Really pissed me off. I wasn't worried about the secondary. I haven't been worried about them because they played so well last year and they're all returning, and we got that rookie. But boy, oh boy, I was not happy there. I mean, really, what the fuck? As I said, the Bears' defense did seem to get close to the quarterback, but just couldn't get in there to get those sacks. So I think with, like I said, more time together, it could... I think we're going to do better there. Because, the Bears in the first half forced many Green Bay 3-and-outs. There was quite a few 3-and-outs, and there was quite a few stoppages through the game. But when you give up 14 points in turnovers to Green Bay, that just takes the wind out of everybody's sail. If you don't have those 14 points, it's a much different game if Fields doesn't fumble it for a touchdown and throw an interception for a touchdown. Big difference. The defense might have been playing better had they been closer. But again, these guys have not played together at all. So yesterday's game was like the first time they've actually been on the field together because they didn't play in preseason. So, there was shining moments here and there for the defense. So I'm really hoping that, okay, once we were behind the way we were, that was it. Bears are not at that point where they're a come from behind team those many points down. They're just not, okay? So, I do know that the Bears players were embarrassed. Coach Fluss came out in his press conference after the game, and he said, we're embarrassed. We're sick to our stomachs. You should be, because that was a cluster fuck of a game. You should be embarrassed, coach. And I am really disappointed in the coaching staff and the Bears and even Poles. Very, very disappointed. You did not have your team ready for that game at all. I mean, seriously, there were several other teams in the NFL who came into the season. Pittsburgh Steelers, the Giants, and the Bears came into the season thinking, okay, we made major changes in the offseason. We're ready and this, that. And all three of the teams looked terrible. And I know we don't care about the other two teams, but I'm just pointing it out. These are teams that thought they had made strides. They're moving forward, and they did not at all. They look bad. And the Bears, it is one game. We have 16 more to go, so I'm not giving up on them. But I'm telling you what, these guys have got to get their shit together. And I do believe that the defense will improve. I really do. I really think a lot of their problem was they haven't, like I said many times on the show, I've said they didn't play in the offseason or the preseason together. So they're each game they're going to get better. I think they're going to be much better next week. The offense, though, worries me because it really kind of looked like last year's offense. It didn't look any different to me. And then Fields came out and he did admit he missed a lot of he missed checkdowns. He missed open wide receivers. Again, the game looked too fast for him yesterday. And that really is a disappointment to me because I've always supported Fields. If you watch the show, you know. I wasn't 100% on board. Ohio State has a terrible track record with quarterbacks in the NFL. So I've always been on the fence about Fields. And if he does not turn this around, he has got to start passing. He has got to start seeing those wide receivers. And it was just so disappointing. It looked like there were some flashes here and there, but those penalties hurt. Like he did. DJ Moore, I think, only had two passes, but there was one where he got a big play, came back, a penalty. Johnson, the running back, had a wonderful run. I think that was in the third or fourth quarter. Nice yards. I think he got like 20 yards. Penalty, came back. And you could see his face. He was just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Do you blame him? You got to stop with these fucking penalties. Jesus. See, I'm getting worked up, and I shouldn't be because my head is like, ugh. But again, really, there's nothing more to say. We just can't. It's the penalties, turnovers, lack of being prepared for that game costs us the game. Nobody looked prepared. The entire team gets an F from polls all the way down. The only two bright spots on that game yesterday was our kicking team. Our punter looks great. He's still kicking great. And, of course, Santos, 2 field goals. So that was the only thing that looked good yesterday. And if you're saying your kicking team are the only two things that look good, boy, is that bad. It's going to be a long fucking season. So next week we're going to play Tampa Bay. I do believe the Bears will not play that bad. I do believe they're going to have a lot of film to look at, and they are going to be embarrassed, and they should be embarrassed. And, I will give Fields credit for manning up and saying, I sucked. That's great. Good for you. You take it on the chin. You are one of the captains. You should be. But I want wins. I don't want every week this to be the same. Oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. That don't give us W's, okay? We want W's, okay? So we're going to put this game behind us and say, okay, clusterfuck. We learned. We embarrassed ourselves again. And you know what? And the other thing I'm sick and tired of is hearing about fucking Rodgers, all right? Rodgers, Green Bay. Rodgers, Green Bay. Sick of it, okay? Sick of it. Move on, Bears. Get to Tampa Bay and fucking get us a win. Because I'm telling you what, you better turn this thing around because you know what? There's a lot of people counting on you guys. And, of course, did I think the Bears are going to go to the Super Bowl this year? No. But everyone's predicting 11-6. 11-6. Not if they play like this. Okay, so we know the bottom line what happened. Penalties, turnovers, lack of being prepared. And, that is really all you can say. And the defense and offensive line have not played together. So I truly believe it will be better. I'm kind of repeating myself because there's really not a lot to say. So, but I want to throw out a little trivia question. Let's kind of change the course here real quick, and I want no cheating. Okay, I know everybody can get online and get the answers, but it's no fun if you do that. So I'm going to throw out every once in a while I'm going to throw out a trivia question on either my Friday show or Monday show. We'll do it today because I wasn't here Friday, and just to be fun. So no cheating. Try to do this on yourself. I mean, this is on honor system here, people. Okay. And then put it in the comments what you think. So I thought this was interesting. I don't know how being home, stuck, sick, not a lot you can do, right? So I was thinking about how many states have teams in the NFL, have NFL teams, and this and that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do, because there's I have how many states have teams and how many states don't. How many states have one team, how many states have two teams, and how many states have three teams. Okay? So I'm only going to do two of these questions, okay? So my trivia question to you guys is, how many states in the United States have two NFL teams? And how many states have three NFL teams? Tell me how many in the comments, and you have to name the teams too. And don't cheat, please. And then I'll announce the winner. So it's honor system. So if I announce you as a winner and you cheated, bad. So you know what, guys? What are we going to do? One game. Even though I'm really pissed, but I'm trying to be, you know me, I try to look at the bright side, but there was no bright side yesterday. There just wasn't. F all the way around except for the kicking team. And they better turn this thing around. You know what? Otherwise, it's going to be another long fucking season. And after last season, I can't take another one of those. I mean, 48 years I've been doing this, and I think to myself, why do I put myself through this year after year after year? Because I love the Bears. I can't help it. I'm a glutton for punishment. I know. But when they do well, it's just like, hooray! So let's put this one behind us. And I know that's what Coach Fluss is going to do after they watch film today. They're going to be like, all right, throw that one away. We're going to do over next Sunday in Tampa Bay. And we better see a different team on next Sunday. Otherwise, there is going to be a coup in Illinois. So I hope you're all doing well. You know what? I just don't have any more to say. There's just no point. It's beating the dead horse, going over and over what went wrong. We all know it, okay? So I hope everybody's doing well. I do want to give a shout out to my nephew, Jeff, and his wonderful bride, Terry. They did get married last Sunday night in New York. It was awesome. They're on their honeymoon, and I love them. God bless them. Another shout out to somebody, Robbie in Indianapolis. Thank you for watching, buddy. He's a family member, and thanks for watching. That's it. So I hope you're all doing well and staying healthy. Don't catch COVID. I think it's wrapping up again. I don't know. There were 7 of us, like I said, that came home with COVID from my family, but it could have been worse because there was 25 of us that were there. We all came from all over the United States, so it was a lot of fun. I won't deny that. It was a blast, but being sick like this is not fun. This COVID thing is the real deal, and take it seriously. So, anyways, I love y'all. I really do appreciate you guys. I will be back again on Friday. I'll be back twice a week. I'll be back Friday to talk about the Tampa Bay game. And if all goes well, I should be doing a live podcast on Wednesday night with my good friend Dan. It's called Chicago Bears Country Podcast, and it's with Dan and Lynn. So look us up. Dan, I know you said the Bears are going 11-6, man. I hope you were right. I'd give anything for that. So, but thank you all for coming. Tell everybody to watch me. My shows are going to get better and better each game, just like the Bears, right? Got to be back in the saddle again. So, for season 4, right? 4. Did you hear that? Let's talk Chicago Bears, season 4. But tell everybody, come back, watch me. I do apologize that I'm still a little sluggish, but COVID will do that to you. But I appreciate you watching me. I love you guys, and as always, remember, love one another. Stop hate. Help each other out. Smile at somebody when they're out and about and you see somebody. You never know what kind of day they're having. And a smile is the best thing you can do. I haven't done a lot of smiling in the last week, but I'm trying to get back to that again. So, and I want to make you guys smile, okay? Because we're in this together. Let's love one another and just rally around each other. And let's rally around our Bears and just give them another week. Everybody pump the brakes. 16 more games. We're going to get a win next week. I love you guys. And go Bears. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.